Hi, welcome to the Brooks Public Library. My name is Tamara and I'm here with a special guest today. In February 2012, the Brooks Public Library hired Sarah McCormack as its new head librarian. Hailing from Ontario, Canada, Sarah has been all over the country and now finds herself here at the Brooks Public Library. So Sarah, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where did you come from? I know some of our viewers will recognize you from the Medicine Hat Public Library.
I was born and raised in Sarnia, Ontario. I went to Brock University in St. Catharines, Ontario for my undergrad, and then had to figure out what to do next, so I moved to Halifax, Nova Scotia, and went to Dalhousie for a Master's in Library and Information Management. My first job out of school was in Medicine Hat, and then I went to Regina, and now I'm here. So it's kind of a whirlwind tour of the provinces.
And we all know what a great library system Ontario has. Can you tell us about your first experience in a library? Do you remember that?
Well, growing up, my parents took me to the library a lot. I was kind of a nerdy reader back then, still am. And I remember going to the library with my mother and taking out grocery bags of books. Like, we're talking full grocery bags of books for the 2 or 3 weeks, and having the librarian say to me, "You know you can only have these for 3 weeks." And my reply was always a confident, "Absolutely, not a problem." And I would read them all in those 2 or 3 weeks and bring them back. So it was a great place to just explore.
Oh, wow. Well, did that experience influence your decision to become a librarian? Or what made you decide that being a librarian was a good career choice for you?
Actually, no, it was an interesting kind of path that brought me to being a librarian. I was a history major, medieval European history, and thought I was going to be an archivist. Medieval archives, rare books, that sort of thing. And it was only when I went to school and learned all about public libraries and worked in Medicine Hat and the community space that it really brought home that that's what I was meant to do.
And it's interesting that you bring up community space. So Sarah, in your opinion, what makes the library a special place for the community to visit?
Well, the library is one of the very few places in this world that everyone can go to. We welcome everyone regardless of age, gender, race, socioeconomic background, everything. And there's something for everybody. So that makes the library a very special place.
It definitely does. Now, we know you worked in Medicine Hat and then you moved on to Regina. What attracted you to working in Brooks and at the Brooks Public Library?
Well, when I was at Medicine Hat, I was part of the Shortgrass Library system. And Brooks is a member of the Shortgrass Library system. So that's what initially brought me to this position. I was also told when I came to visit that the community is very supportive of the library, and you need a supportive community to have successful libraries, so that was an added incentive.
Well, that's good, and it's great to hear that you want us to be a successful library. We hear so much in the news today about the different challenges that are facing libraries. In your opinion, what's the biggest challenge facing libraries in society today?
The biggest challenge comes from the perception people have of libraries. One of the great library marketers said, not only do we have to market libraries, but we have to challenge everything that people already believe about libraries and replace it with what we really know them to be. So our library is not meant to be a book repository, a storage unit for written word. It is a community space, a community hub, a welcoming place for people to come and be. It's so much more than books.
And do you feel that's a challenge here in Brooks that we face, that we're seen as simply a book depository?
I think it's a challenge in the sense that we have a wonderful collection. We don't have a lot of public space for people to sit and relax, a comfortable, welcoming space that way. So I think it's a challenge due to the space constraints more than to the community.
That's really interesting. And with that, the library itself here has seen some changes, what with the addition of the ebook collection and some minor renovations to a new computer lab space. Can you tell us, what other changes are you looking forward to seeing here in the library?
Well, there's so many ideas that are running through our heads. I know I've spoken with staff and we have a lot of ideas about how to use the space. We're creating some bookable meeting rooms, moving the computers, looking at our children's space to see what can be done there for some fun play activities for children to practice their literacy, to work with their families, some teen space. There's so many things. I just encourage everyone to come in and see and give us their feedback on how these changes.
Well, that sounds like there's some exciting things happening on the horizon. Now, one last question before we go, and no librarian can escape this question. What are you reading right now?
I'm actually listening to an audiobook right now on grant writing for dummies, but the book I'm reading is The Game of Thrones.
That's a great series.
So you got to have a little bit of both.
That's great. Thank you so much, Sarah, for your time and sitting with us today. And thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you at the library. For more information on this or any other event, please contact the Brooks Public Library at 403-362-2947 or check us out online, shortgrass.ca/BPL. The Brooks Public Library is located at 420 First Avenue West, right inside Evergreen Park.